مثل اینکه داوطلبمون داوطلب نمیشن. من اینوایت کردم. آها اوکی شد. سلام.
سلام.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Peachy. So I can't hear the voice.
You're breaking up, bro.
صدام هست؟
آره کانکشن خیلی پوره بکنم.
گوش درست شد. صدا، تصویر، نور.
حرکت.
دیگه چیه؟ صدا، تصویر، نور، حرکت. امروز قراره چیکار کنیم؟
امروز قراره یه ماک تست بریم ببینیم که اگزمینرمون آقای با تجربه ماک تست بدن چجوری عمل میکنن.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So let's get started.
So are you ready?
Wow, I was born ready, son. Girl.
Oh, okay. So let's get started. This is the IELTS Speaking Mock Test. Today is 24th of March. The candidate name is Qana'I. Welcome to the IELTS Speaking Mock Test. In the first part of the test, I want to ask you about museum. Have you ever been to museum?
Wait a second. Let me see. What the hell? این چه کوفتیه؟ یعنی چی؟ حالم به هم میخوره. اگر میخواید در دام کلاهبرداران نیفتید 2 تا لباس کلن بهش اعتماد نکنید. خب لباس اول که لباس آخوندی خودمونه، میدونیم لباس کلاهبرداریه واسه اکثرشون. البته لباس دوم کساییه که میان هیچ اعتقادی به کراوات اینا ندارن، اما به مؤسسه بودم اسمشون نمیگم که مثلا تند و سر اینا بود. گفت 2 تا چیز ضروریه. یکی اینکه باید حتما کراوات بزنی، میخوایم پول این بچه پولا رو بگیریم، کراوات لازمه دیگه. و دوم لهجه اکسنت بریتیش. ورکوشی میگی وک. هم چی؟ وک. مگه من وسقم که اینجوری بگم؟ پس در دام این 2 لباس کلاهبرداری نیافتید. کراوات اکثر مواقع، نه همیشه، فرقی با اون که دور سر میپیچن 70-80 متر پاچست نداره. Now let's get started.
Let's get started. So, we want to talk about museum, and the first question is: have you ever been to a museum?
I guess I've been to a museum once or twice. I think I was in elementary school, and our schools used to bring us to some museums which used to represent how bad and how evil the previous regime was, the Shah was, and it was something which was kind of mandatory to attend. Yeah, that's it.
What kind of art is in museums in your country?
I would say almost any kind, well, related to our culture and history, because Iran, as you know, is one of the oldest civilizations in the world, and the things that are people demonstrate in museums are paintings, you know, artifacts, archaeological artifacts, and etc.
Did your parents take you to museums as a child?
No, it wasn't something my parents were interested in, but as I said, our schools used to bring us And I didn't quite like it, to be honest, because it was kind of a political stunt, not an actual excursion for students to learn.
Okay. Are museums common in your country?
Sorry, are museums common?
Yes. Common in your
Mm,
country?
yeah, I would say there are a lot of museums, especially in megacities and cultural, historical cities like Isfahan, Shiraz, Tehran. But as far as I know, people around me don't go there. They're not interested in that kind of thing.
Okay. Now let's talk about flying. Are there many airlines in your country?
Airlines, yes, of course. Iran is a country of about 90 million people. So, as much as our infrastructure is not efficient and not developed enough, but there has to be numerous airlines in order to accommodate all of these passengers. That's why for both domestic and international flights. And yes, but they're not as high quality as foreign airlines.
Okay. Have you ever flown anywhere?
Yes, I've been on an airplane for like 2 or 3 times in my life. Last one was about 3 months ago when I went to Turkey. I gotta say, when we went to Turkey from Iran, the airline's name was I don't know. I'm bad at remembering names, but it was better quality food, everything, especially flight attendants. But when we wanted to go come back, the airline. This one's name I remember very well. It was Qeshm Airlines, and I gotta say, it was very poor quality and not very attractive flight attendants.
Okay. Where would you like to fly?
Oh, where would I like to fly? I have so many destinations in mind. My favorite country in terms of landscapes and view scenery is Norway. I would like to fly there, enjoy its natural attractions. Australia would be my second choice. And USA, I think, is on everybody's top of the bucket list. Yeah, I'm gonna go to USA, and it's a country that provides natural, modern, I don't know, city breaks, everything. You would have everything in one place.
Last question. Are you scared of flying?
No, not at all. I remember the first time I used an airplane to travel was about like 5 years ago when I was 28 years old. I had never been on an airplane before, and I have heard of stories people panicking during the takeoff. But for me, it was nothing actually. I don't know what all the fuss was about.
Okay. Now let's move on to part two of our speaking test. In this part, you will be given a task card. You'll have 1 minute to think about it, and you have to answer between 1 to 2 minutes. question رو میخونم and then I'm gonna show it to you guys. So, um, describe a movie you watched recently that you felt disappointed about. When it was, why you didn't like it, why you decided to watch it, and explain why you felt disappointed about it. The 1 minute starts.
Movie. Okay. Well, I gotta say, watched and painfully and excruciatingly gone through a bunch of movies during my lifetime that I felt really disappointed by. But the one that comes to my mind is Dune. It was released, I think, about 2 years ago, and it created a lot of fuss. And there was, it received critical acclaim from the movie critics and websites. And I didn't know any of the actors, and didn't have a lot of information about it. But just because it was kind of sci-fi movie, and I'm interested in those kinds of movies, I thought I would give it a shot and see what all the attention and controversy was about. And the movie was actually like 2 hours and 40 minutes long. And I sat and I was waiting and waiting and waiting for something special to happen. But lo and behold, the end scene, the credits came down, and nothing special happened. And I was feeling like, did I just waste about 3 hours of my time on a movie that essentially had nothing to say? And I was so disappointed and angry, and I couldn't just believe. For 3 hours, I was stood up, and actually, I was so mad that I immediately after the movie went to the shower and spent like 40 minutes in the shower. So it didn't live up to the expectations, to say the least. It didn't live up to the hype. And if I could go back, I would never ever watch a movie just based on its critical acclaim and scores. And that's all I have to say about this topic.
Okay. Now I want to ask you some related questions. What types of movies are popular in Iran?
I would say comedies, but the thing is, there aren't as many comedies as there used to be, for instance, like a decade ago or 2 decades ago. People, especially on occasions like this, because we are in a special time of our calendar year, Nowruz, beginning of New Year, people love to watch comedies, have a little bit of fun, especially with this toxic political economic atmosphere. But for some reason, the government, which is in charge of production of movies, it just doesn't produce comedies anymore. It produces movies with themes of sadness, and I think it's not. It doesn't happen unintendedly. I think it's on purpose, and they want to have our population keep them sad and depressed, and it's a very unfortunate situation.
Why are Japanese animation movies so popular?
If you had asked me this question 10 years ago, I wouldn't have any clue. But I got introduced to such animations because, I played a game for PlayStation 4. It was called Metal Gear. And the narrative was so sophisticated and complex. And I quite liked that, sophistication, that innovation of narrative. And I understood. I did a little bit of digging, and I understood that all Japanese animations and games are like that, and there are thought-provoking and complex the stories and narratives, and I think it's because of that, being so complicated.
Okay, does the older generation like animation movies?
I don't think so. I, for one, haven't ever seen anyone who's been watching an animation. They only play it for their children, and I think it's a shame because animations are sorry, innovative, and there are some good messages. And I know for a fact that in countries like USA, they have huge box office, and a lot of adults attend cinemas too. But it's not the case in my country.
Okay, now let's talk about remembering things. What do you think is the first moment of happiness that people remember?
I guess it has to do with their childhood. Most people cherish their childhood, or at least, have regrets. They want to experience the time again because I think it's very tangible that when you're a child, you don't have as much on your mind. And there are a lot of should have dones and could have dones when it comes to childhood. I wish I could have, people say, I wish I could have repeated it. I wish I could have had more fun. I wish I could have uh, I don't know, handled it other ways. But I think there are always such should have done's and could have done's, and I personally, I'm done with all of that. And but to answer your question, uh, let's consider myself. One of the happiest days of my childhood was when I first went to school, and I have a very vivid memory of that day. And because I was an only child and I didn't have anybody to play with, it was just a blast that day, and I will always remember it.
Okay, why do some people remember more of their childhood than others?
I guess it has to do with number one, memory, and number two, how happy they were with their childhood. Personally, I'm not satisfied with the childhood that I had, so I tend to forget, but I want to forget, but I can't. It's kind of bad memories, uh, kind of, mm, they keep me there. They don't let me move on. For some people, it's probably happy memories, but it has to do with how good your memory is too. Some people have lousy memories, so to speak. They don't even remember what they ate for breakfast, and I think these two factors are the most important ones.
Okay, what kinds of things do people need to remember nowadays?
Um, with such a hectic lifestyle, having to work 2 or 3 jobs, most people, the middle class, it's really hard. You have to remember your appointments, meet deadlines, because it's your livelihood. If you don't remember your deadlines, you would be out of a job and you can't afford to live. That's the most important thing, and I think the second or third priority is about our social interactions, but work comes first.
Okay, this is the end of speaking test.
Thank you.
But now let's move on. Let's move
تیچر
on.
قبول شدم.
نه والا چی بگم؟
خب چند بهمون دادی؟ متد نمره دهی چیز چجوریه؟
Let me show my
اسپیکینگ آیلتس.
t-shirt first. You're not the only one who has the beautiful orange t-shirt. Show off.
شواف میکنم؟
With your t-shirt.
آها. So you've got one of those too? I wonder who gave it to you.
Let's not talk about it. Not my favorite person.
Asshole. Okay, so what score did you give me for part one?
Part one 3 تا 8 میدیم بهت.
3 تا 8 یا 8 اولی فلورنسی کویرن.
I'm so sorry. I'm dying. Okay.
اگه استخدام سوپروایزر جدید از اینجا میزنیم. خب فلورنسی کویرن چند دادی؟
8 دیگه گفتم.
گفتی 3 تا 8.
اوکی. چند بدیم؟ دوست دارم 5 بدم.
خب دوست داشتنت به کنار، منم دوست دارم به تو 0 بدم، ولی خب you gotta give the devil it's his due.
9 نمیدم آخر. 8
به چی نمیدی 9؟
به شما.
خب تو کدوم کرایتریا نمیدی؟ FC لارج یا
کلا
یعنی 4 تا 8 نمیدی؟
شما چی دوست داری؟ به نظر خودتون چی بود؟ اگزمینر ما هستی؟
پارت یک یه خورده معمولا خود آدم نمیتونه قضاوت کنه. کمتر از 4 تا 8 فکر نمی‌کنم بود. شاید یکیش 9 بگیره، ولی خب حالا بذار بگیم 4 تا 8 مثلا. موافقی؟ روونیش در حد 8 بود، 7 بود، 9 بود. فلوئنسی
8 بود.
8 بود. 9 نبود یعنی؟
یه ذره کس دیگه بود 9 داده بودم آلردی.
آها. پس 9. دشمنی تو با ما چون فهمیدنش. خب ال آر و جی آر معمولا پارت 1 8 نمیگیره، بعد پارت بعد بتونی شوافش کنی. خب از پرونانسیشن هم تونستی یاد بگیری سامثینگ هم؟
نه اونو خدا رو شد بلد.
اینم 9 میشه. خب پارت 2 آیا عمل کردم از لحاظ وکب و گرامر بیشتر شد؟
آره اینجا 9 میدم.
تنجبل و قابل حس بود؟
یس.
خب پس 2 تا 9 میره اینجا. پرونانسیشن اف سیم فلوئنسی کویرس هم افت کرد یا بهتر بود بدتر بود؟
نه بهتر بود. 9 میدی.
از اگزمینر خصیص تونستیم پارت 2 و پارت 3 چه فرقی داشت با پارت 2؟
پارت 3 خب بهتر بسته شده بود. بعد اینجا 9 میتونم بدم. نمیخوام.
خب پس یعنی 2 ما گرفتم دیگه.
نه چیزه یه 2 تاشو 5 بکنی.
خب حالا خارج از اون مثلا ساختار گرامری نمیدونم وکب آنکامن چه شنیدی؟ به ذهن چیزی میاد؟
یهو میپرسی تو لایو آدم دیگه یهو یادش نمیاد.
یهو یادش نمیاد. خب یه چند شرطی و اینا که به کار بردم.
آره باید یاد میاد بگو.
Should have done, could have done, I'm done with all of that.
آره EDM هم
Uncommon vocab یا EDM؟
آره داشتی.
EDM
On the tip of my tongue.
خب پس اینی که حتما بیام بگم مثلا یه EDM خیلی خاصی کاستن او من لگ نمیدونم birds of a feather flock together اینا رو نداشتم. آقا بعد 7 بهم بدی، خیلی زیاد بهم میدی یا لازمه اینا یا نیست؟
نه خب وقتی توانایی ساپورت رو داری تو ادامه صحبت، تو ادامه جمله ها توانایی این که حالا نشون بدی چیزای دیگه هم برای صرفا یه عبارتی نیستش که حفظ کرده باشی 2 تا ایدیم حفظ کرده باشی به زور بخوای ازش استفاده بکنی. نبود که بخوایم نمره رو بیاریم پایین.
فقط یه جا اعتراف میکنم اون should have done could have done رو قسمت دومش رو فیک نکردم، به جا گفتم که بچه مردم درباره سوالی بود که گذشته چالش مموری اینا. قسمت دومش اشتباه گفتم I'm done with all of that، صحیحش کردم خودم صحیحش کردم که مشکلی نداره. اگه زیاد نباشه مثلا واسه بند 9 تا 1-2 بار آدم میتونه خودشو تصحیح کنه، ولی هی هر چقدر بیشتر بشه سلف کورکشنه میاد پایین‌تر. بیشتر از 1-2 بار که نداشتم سلف کورکشن داشتم.
نه.
و اینی که توپق بزنم مثلا توپقه باعث بشه سخت بفهم. آقا شاخصه بارز بند 9 واسه فلوئنسی کوهرنس اینه که تو بدون هیچ زحمتی بفهمی طرف داره چی میگه. آیا برات سخت بود این که من بفهمم چی میگم یا خیلی واضح و سریع فهمیدی؟
واقعا واضح.
خب
میگم دیگه
الارم که صحبت کردیم. آره گرامر که خب گرامر باید خطاها خیلی کم باشه واسه بند 9 رنجش هم خوب باشه. ایرادی گرامری یعنی نتونستی آنچنان متاسفانه عجب اون تیشرت نارنجی رو یه روز ازت میگیرم بر تن بعضی شایسته تر میکنم.
این دیگه
برتن
هست.
فردی شایسته. خب من برداشتم کندم، تو چرا نکندی؟ من لباس شیادی رو در آوردم.
شایسته تر پیدا نخواهی کرد.
Can't argue with that unfortunately. و pronunciation، سوتی pronunciation و اینا داشتم. چانکینگ هم مشکلی داشت.
نه خدا رو شکر. نه خدا رو شکر نه ببخشید.
متاسفانه نمی‌خواستی بگی.
متاسفانه.
خب دوستان عزیز، من از این اگزمینر که با من دژمنه 9 گرفتم. اگر میخوای نمره 9 بگیری 8 بگیری، اگر میخوای و اون قسمت چیزا رو حتما ببین. اگر میخوای کلا سرت نره توسط لباسهای شیادی، اون قسمتش رو حتما ببین. خب peace out.
خدافظ. Try not to miss me.
Bye bye. Yeah, I'm gonna miss you. Try not to die.
Bye.
Bye bye.